Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Taylor and I love making embroidery fun and easy for everybody. In today's video, I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes and showing you my entire process for creating my monthly free embroidery file. From designing in Canva to digitizing in Hatch, uploading it to Dropbox, and then finally launching my webpage. I'm going to walk you through every single step. Whether you're just learning how to create your own designs or you're just curious about how I do it, you're in the right place. So grab a comfy seat, maybe even a snack, and let's get started. So I'll be honest, I already have this idea of what I want to create. So I'm basically just going to take you through the process of how I would go about creating that. So I want it to be a flower, and I want the flower to have a cow print. And then in the middle of the flower, I want there to be a smiley face. So first step is to find a flower frame. Now, Canva is really cool because they have a ton of different frames, and you can even type in the exact shape that you're looking for, followed by the word frame, and it'll usually pop up with a lot of different options. So I'm really liking this one here. Now, I always offer a 5x7 and a 4x4 option for the free file. So I'm starting off in a 5x7 document using canva.com. Now it's time to find a cow print so we can put it inside of the frame. Now you can use different colors, but I just want to do the traditional black and white. And if you click on the image and hover over the frame, it'll basically just get right into it. And then if you decide, oh, I actually don't want this inside of the frame, you could just click detach image and then you can start over. And I actually want to make the splotches of this pattern a little bit larger, so that way when it's being embroidered, it's a little bit more legible. So I think that's pretty good. Now, the only thing that I feel like is missing is a border around the flower. So right up here in this top section of Canva, you're going to see border style. And if you click on that and then click on this one here on the right, you can make a little border, and you can even change the thickness of the border to be however you'd like it to be. And I'm just going to make a little small one because essentially I can recreate it in Hatch. So I don't want to take up too much of the pattern if I don't need to. So there we have the finished flower. But like I said, I do want there to be a smiley face in the middle. So I'm just going to go ahead and look for smiley face. And I just want it to be like a traditional looking one like this. I feel like this is pretty on brand for the vibes. It's time to download the file to your laptop so you can digitize it. So underneath the share icon, this menu is going to pop up and you're going to click on download. I always use PNG because I noticed that that is what the software requires. Once you're inside of the software, all you have to do is click on new blank design, or you can use the buttons Control and N. Once you have the new design window open, it's time to locate the PNG file that you just saved to your computer from Canva. Once it's located, go ahead and bring it into the software. And underneath this auto digitize menu, look for this little apple icon that just says click to fill. Go ahead and click on the image, and in just a moment, you're going to see this pop-up menu. And it's basically just asking which colors do you want there to be inside of this design. Now, I feel like 3 is appropriate because I really only see yellow, black, and white. So I'm going to keep it at 3. And I'm just going to press OK. And then from here, you're just going to focus on where to begin. So I always begin in the background of the design. So the black spots are essentially going to be over the white thread. So I'm going to start with the white thread, and then I'm probably going to move on to the yellow thread and then save the black thread for the end, since the black thread seems to be stitching out on top of the yellow and on top of the white. Now with this yellow fill, I'm going to go ahead and click to fill without holes. So that way I can go back in with the black thread on top, and that will ensure that there's going to be no gaps or any unnecessary tension that's going on in this specific area. And then from here, instead of clicking on the black thread, I like to click on the background image and use the flower options, the auto digitize embroidery option. The first one's going to do it all by itself. You don't get any say so in what's going on. I never use that button because it always comes out a little bit wonky. Now the second option, you get to choose a couple of things, and I feel like you have a better chance of getting a cleaner outcome if you use the second option. So similar to before, you're going to see this pop-up menu appear. Now I already have the yellow, so I'm actually going to change it to omit, and the white can stay at omit as well since I already have that color filled in as well. Now the black thread I do not have, so I'm going to leave it on details, or you could use fill. I think that really is just personal choice. I haven't noticed much of a difference when you switch it back and forth between those two options. From here, I'm going to click on OK. And that's basically what we're working with now. Now there's a couple of different things you can do here to adjust your fills. So if you want to keep it at satin, you can. If you want to change it back to tatami to look a little bit more cohesive with the other fills around it, feel free to do that as well. It's totally up to you. Now the smiley face here in the middle is satin. I think that looks pretty good. I think I'm going to go ahead and change the eyes to be satin as well, just to look a little bit more cohesive with the middle and kind of make the smiley face pop. And I'm going to go down a little bit and adjust some other fills that I notice are satin object property and change it to tatami. The last thing I want to do is create a thicker border around the outside just so I can ensure a clean look. I also like to use the smooth shapes button, and essentially what that will do, it'll just adjust your node count automatically. So if I click undo, that's how it looked, which is really just not necessary. You don't need all those nodes. It's not going to come out very clean if you leave it like that. So you can go in manually and delete the nodes, or you can use the smooth shapes button and reduce those nodes automatically. So that's usually what I do, and then I'll zoom back in a little bit more and make sure everything really looks according to plan. Now the main thing I would focus on here is the white fill, and just making sure that those nodes are also reduced and underlapping the thread that comes above it. So now usually the term is overlapping, but instead of overlapping the right thread, it's best to go ahead and just push it a little bit underneath the thread that comes above it. So that way you'll have a less likelihood of gaps appearing there. And I'm basically just going to go around this entire design and do what I'm doing here just to make sure that there's going to be no gaps. Now that I've finished doing all of that, it's time to focus on the border of this flower. So the first thing I'm going to do to get the border of the flower is to click on this white in the background, but I'm going to use the click to fill without holes. So it will actually, no, not the white. I'm going to click on the black up here, like this piece, because it touches all the way on the edge. And still the same thing though, I'm going to use click to fill without holes. And this is what I'm going for. I wanted it to cover the entire thing so I can just focus on selecting this image and then clicking on outline. And if you look over here in the sequence, it's just the outline of the flower. And then instead of single run, I'm going to change it to satin. And then from here, you can adjust the width size if you want it to be a little bit thinner. Or you can even change the color. Maybe I'll change it to match the color of the smiley face. And then from here, all I have to do is delete the background image and click on preview so we can get a closer look at the design and see if there's anything that we can go in and adjust. Honestly, I think it's looking pretty good. Now all that's left to do is to resize this design and make sure that it'll fit inside of different hoop options. Okay, so if you look here at the top, the 5x7 hoop cannot exceed 5 inches in width. So 4.850 is usually the sweet spot where you can fit it inside of a 5x7 hoop. Now you're probably thinking, well, the width is, 5x7, or the width is 7, and then, depending on how you orientate the hoop, then the other one would be 7, right? Well, if you make this one to be as large as it can be for a 7x7 hoop, press enter, then this width is just not going to work. It exceeds 5 inches. So unfortunately, you have to focus on the smaller dimension. So you're going to be missing like 2 inches in either direction, depending on how you hoop the material. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah, 4.850 is the max it can go for the 5x7 hoop. So from here, I'm just going to go ahead and save design as so I can get that EMB file. Now, if you're a regular on this channel, you know why an EMB file is important to have. It just makes your life so much easier when you have to bring the design back into the software if you need to adjust the file. So I'm just going to go ahead and save it as cow smiley flower. So there we go. We have the EMB file saved, and then now we're going to download it for the machine file type, and then also make sure I specify the sizing. So 5x7 at the end, and then I'm going to use PES for the original download, and then I'm going to also offer a couple of different formatting options as well. But before I can download it again, I need to make sure I adjust it to fit the 4x4 hoop. Now the 4x4 hoop, you cannot exceed 3.850 inches either direction. So you have to start off with the width and then make sure the height is in check. And as long as it doesn't go over 3.850, then it should fit in that hoop. And then again, as before, I'm going to download it again, but instead of 5x7, I'm going to erase it and put 4x4. And I'm going to save it as a PES file as well. Click save. And then from here, I'm going to create a folder of the designs that I just made. So now that we have the folder created, I'm going to head over to Design Library and I'm going to locate the folder that I just created. Now, once you find your folder and you see the 2 files that you just saved to your computer, go ahead and grab onto both of those files. Once you do that, the options on the left-hand side underneath the toolbox, you're going to click on Convert Selected Designs. Now from here, the browse button is very important because you don't want to lose your files and be confused as to where they ended up. So just make sure you click on the folder that you would like your files to be saved to. I always say the most common file types that people come out and reach out about are JEF, PES, I'm not going to click it because we already have it in the background, VP3, and DST. Now, if you have other people reaching out and asking for the XXX Singer Machine files, feel free and download that as well for your customers. But in this case, I really just have these few file types being requested. From here, I'm just going to click on Convert. And if you clicked on the right folder, you will see the new files that you just converted pop up on the screen that you're looking at. You're basically all set. Now all I have to do is compress my folder so that way I can upload the zip file onto the Dropbox. So let's head over there. Alrighty, so now I'm just going to click on upload file and double click on my zip file. Now I also want to make sure I specify when it's going to expire. Let's see. This is for the rest of May. So yeah, I'm going to have it in June 1st because I'm going to create a new file for June 1st and give everybody a different option for the month of June. And I used to have a password. Now I'm not going to have a password on the file because people always ended up reaching out and saying, oh, the password's not working. So there's no password. All you have to do is click on the link down below, click on free file, and you will see the file that I just created for free on the website. So yeah, now I'm just going to click on done and create transfer. All right, so now I'm going to copy the link for this transfer. Oh, how satisfied are you with Dropbox transfer? I'm extremely satisfied. I use Dropbox transfer every single month. Submit. That was random. Okay, so I'm going to use the link that I just copied and paste it onto my free file site that is usually linked below, or sometimes it's also linked in my TikTok bio and my Etsy description. So I'm just going to click on free file here, and I'm going to edit the link that's on here, delete what is on there now because that's the one from last month, and I'm going to press done. And then I'm going to make sure that the background, okay, just got to double check. And then I'm going to double click and erase the underline because I don't want it. And then now all I have to do is click on publish website, republish. Awesome. Okay, it says my website is now live. So I'm going to click on view website and take a look and make sure that the link actually works. So this is how it should look when you go onto the website. And if you scroll underneath that page, you're going to see an embroidery checklist. So I have everything linked here for things that you just need to get started with the hobby. And then a couple of things that you would need to make the hobby a little bit easier. So my number one recommendation is always the 505 adhesive spray because it's really easy to adhere your fabric to your stabilizer and it'll just make things a lot more seamless. Along with a ton of other things like even a thread rack. I still have this one today. It's the best. Okay, anyways, up here, if you click on free file, it should take you to the Dropbox. And here it is. It's successfully uploaded. So it looks like we're all good on that. And then from here, you just click on download and you would save it to your computer. But I'm not going to click on it because I already have it saved onto my laptop. So, all right, guys, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for just sticking along with me and keeping me company while I created this file for you guys. If you have any specific request on what you'd like to see next, definitely comment it down below. Subscribe, like, share, and go download that free file. Bye, guys.